Today on Stock Charts in Focus, we're showing you a brand new way to access your saved chart templates faster than ever before in our advanced charting platform, ACP. Now, last week on the show, we took a look at chart templates in SharpCharts, our legacy tool. We talked about the importance of taking those sets of indicators, all those chart settings, packaging them up as chart styles and saving those to your account. We're going to take a look at similar concepts this week in ACP, show you how to save those chart templates, come back to your charts quicker and easier than ever before. And with the brand new feature that just rolled out, you've got one-click access to those chart templates. So lots to show you on the episode today. Of course, you know what it is. It's all new. It's all here. It's Stock Charts in Focus. All right, my friends, welcome to the show, Stock Charts in Focus. Of course, our product focus show here on the channel where we dig into the site, dive into the tools, walk you through the features, and ultimately help you get more value out of stock charts. That's our mission here every Friday up on the channel. My name is Grayson Rose, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com. Wonderful, as always, to be with you. By the way, if you're new to the channel, don't forget, like and subscribe. Join for all the content that we do here on Stock Charts TV and the Stock Charts channel. We've got so much happening from expert technicians. This is the place to follow all things markets, all things charting, and all things stock charts. Now on the show today, we're going to have some fun. We're kind of building off of last week's episode. If you didn't catch last week's episode, definitely go back. We'll put a link in the description below. Make sure you check out the episode that we did last week, especially if you are a SharpCharts user. Now, of course, now up on Stock Charts, we have two different sort of primary charting platforms. We've got our original classic legacy platform that we call SharpCharts. Those are kind of the charts that we're known for and have been known for a long time. A couple years ago, we introduced ACP. That's a more interactive, fluid, kind of dynamic charting experience. If you like your static charts, SharpCharts is a great platform, getting better and better, especially this year. We've got a new workbench rolling out. We've touched on that on the show in the past. But if you like that kind of more modern, more flexible, all-in-one, everything all in one page, all in one place kind of experience, really more of a charting platform, hence the name ACP, Advanced Charting Platform, then ACP is over there for you as well. So you get to sort of pick, or as I like to do, you get to leverage both sort of universes. You get to do some of your work in SharpCharts, some of your work in ACP. We've made it easy to kind of go back and forth between. A lot of your SharpCharts stuff, for instance, actually comes up in ACP. So I like to use actually both platforms. We're going to touch on that kind of later this month. We'll do an episode on the differences, the similarities between ACP, how to use both SharpCharts and ACP, all that stuff. But anyways, last week we touched on chart styles, and specifically something on the SharpCharts workbench called style buttons, which makes it very easy to access your chart styles, or chart templates is kind of another way to think of what those are. You can take all of the different settings that go into a chart, all the indicators, the overlays, the size, the color, the position, all of that stuff that kind of builds your chart. You can save that as a chart template that you can come back to in the future. Now, in the SharpCharts world, we call those a chart style. In ACP, we're kind of playing with a new language there, just calling them chart templates. That's really what they are. So we've made it even easier to access your chart templates in ACP with a new feature that just rolled out. I'm going to show you that today. But we'll also do a little bit of a refresher on kind of what a chart style is, what a chart template is over there in ACP. We'll take a look at how to save those to your account. And then we'll also start to combine those with layouts. We'll show you a little bit of the power of ACP, of that advanced charting platform. So lots to cover on the show. I say we jump right over to ACP and get it going. So we are here in our advanced charting platform. Of course, dynamic fluid charts. You can kind of move through time. You can move indicators up and down and around your charts. You've also got access to tons of things right within the platform, like our market summary over here. You've got market movers and scooter reports. You can access your chart list right from the sidebar or even at the bottom of the screen. And you can even access popular features here in ACP like our sector summary tool, digging into the markets. There is a ton to explore in ACP if you're new to the platform. We've done episodes on the platform in the past, but lots and lots to explore here, and always getting better. We've been expanding ACP in the feature set here for the last couple of years. I love ACP, especially for researching symbols. It allows you to really kind of seamlessly move through different chart templates, as you're going to see. So if you're researching, let's say ExxonMobil, you want to look at it on an intraday time frame and then a daily and a weekly, ACP can make that very, very easy for you. So what we are going to do today, we're going to start off with a little bit of a refresher on chart templates, kind of what they are in ACP and how to create them. So over here on the left side of the screen, you've got a lot of features over here on the right. Those are kind of, added features like the market summary and the symbol summary. But the way that you really kind of manage your charts and set up your charts, it all happens over here on the left side of the screen. So of course, at the very top, you've got your chart settings. You can add indicators, remove indicators, customize all of the different settings. If you want to customize important settings for the main chart itself, like what kind of scaling you want, logarithmic versus arithmetic. If you want a specific top margin, if you want to kind of crunch those bars down on the screen or up from the bottom, you can do lots and lots of different things here with the settings in ACP. All of that stuff is in here. But the next tab down is going to be your chart templates. So this is kind of why these are organized in this way. You've got your chart settings as kind of the first thing. That's that gears icon. So once you come up with all of the different tools and settings and everything that's sort of collected in a chart, what type of chart it is, how many indicators you want, what moving averages you want, those kinds of things. All of those collections of settings can be packaged up and saved as a chart template. That chart template allows you to come back to that collection of settings in the future with any symbol. So you can think of it as saving a chart, but without the symbol, basically. So all of these settings that I have on this chart can be saved as a chart template. So the reason that we've kind of organized these in this way is that generally you're going to set up your charts here in ACP, choose your indicators, set everything up exactly the way that you want it. And then your next stop is going to be that second sidebar down. So that little chart icon, chart templates, chart icon. This is where you can actually save your chart templates to your account. Now, the other thing that we've built in here is a lot of sample charts and different starters for you. So, for instance, if you're interested in something like position trading or long-term investing, you can open up that trading styles group and play around with some different styles that are in there. We can look at, for instance, the position trading chart. So this is a sample that we've come up with, not necessarily something that we're saying, hey, you've got to use this if you're a position trader, but it's an example of a couple of different indicators and a time frame that might work well for position trading. If you're interested in long-term investing, you can see this is going to be a weekly chart over a longer period of time with some different kind of long-term indicators on there. So these different starters can be very helpful, especially in the sample charts area. Some of these actually are kind of inspired by my work. For instance, things like our moving average focus chart. These are different kind of starters that you can easily play with. Once you've created any set of chart settings, though, that you want to package up and save to your account here in ACP, super easy to do that. All you've got to do is come down to the bottom of this sidebar, click that big green button, Save Chart Template, and this is where you have a couple of options. You can add a new chart template to your account, just give it a name and hit that green button to save it. Or if you want to make some changes to an existing chart template that you have from your account, you can make those changes, then come back, hit that green button, and select Update Existing. This will give you a menu that you can actually select any of your existing chart templates, and you can overwrite that with sort of a new design, a new layout, new configuration, if you will. Now, once you have saved a couple of chart templates, those are going to show up in this top group. So you can see you can actually collapse or expand any of these groups. So right up at the top is your chart templates. Now in my case, I have a ton of these. We touched on this a little bit in last week's show, though. I gave you sort of a rundown on how I've organized my own personal chart styles. I've organized mine by security type and also by time frame. And then I have this really unique kind of leveling system, if you will. So I've got the same chart style basically, but separated up into down into a couple of different levels. So it starts with a very, very simple chart that just has candlesticks and a couple of moving averages on it. Then I bring in two additional indicators, relative strength right up at the top and volume down at the bottom. And that kind of continues as I go to the higher level. So level 2 is going to bring in the RSI down at the bottom, one additional indicator. Level 3 is going to bring in even another set of indicators, accumulation, distribution, and on-balance volume, as well as the scooter. And level 4 brings in even more indicators on top of that. So we touched on that again last week's show, talked about some of the different ways that I use chart styles. But I've also got, as you can see, some general styles. So for instance, if I ever wanted to jump into a Bollinger Bands view, which is something that's not like primary for me, if you want to think of it that way, but is an indicator that I do want to use from time to time. Occasionally I'll be researching something and I'll say, I wonder how this looks if I throw some Bollinger Bands indicators on there. So you can use chart styles, chart templates, depending on which world you're operating out of. You can use these chart templates for a variety of reasons. Again, different security types, stocks, ETFs, mutual funds, cryptocurrencies, commodities, those different things. That's one great way to organize your chart templates, have different templates for different security types. Also different time frames. I find that that's incredibly helpful. So having a short-term time frame, having a daily time frame, having a weekly time frame, maybe even longer, depending on your system that you like to trade. And then also different sets of indicators. That's another great way. So rather than having every indicator under the sun on one chart template, you can break them apart. As you're seeing here, this is a chart template that is really focused on a specific set of indicators, just focused on those Bollinger Bands indicators. We can do something similar with, for instance, full stochastic. So another sort of non-primary indicator for me, but something I do like to look at from time to time. So I've got a chart template saved for that. So couple of different ideas there for you, different ways to organize your chart templates. Now again, once you've created those, come down here, open up this chart template sidebar, look for that big green button at the bottom and hit save. Couldn't be easier to save these chart templates. Depending on your service level here at StockCharts, you've got different numbers of chart templates that you can save, but you get a whole collection of these, and they are incredibly helpful. Rather than having to set up your charts from scratch every single time, chart templates make it very, very easy to simply flip through different sets of indicators that you're going to want to follow from time to time. So that's kind of our little whirlwind tour of chart templates, what they are, why they're important, and how you can start using them in ACP. Now we've added something though that's made chart templates even easier to use here in the platform. So over here on the left, you've got your kind of primary chart templates menu, right? We've been looking at that. You've got your full list. You can search that. You've got the samples in there as well. And you've got that big green button to save those chart templates. As you're going through your work though, from time to time, you're going to want to jump to another chart template, another set of indicators. And it's a little bit cumbersome to open up this menu, go find it in the list, and go through that whole process. So we've added a very, very nice, handy little quick access menu at the top of the platform that allows you to access your chart templates on the fly more easily without disrupting kind of the size of the screen or the size of the chart that you're working with. Now, match up those icons. You can see that little chart icon on the left. You'll now find a little chart icon at the very top of the screen that allows you to open up this menu and access any of those chart templates from your account. Again, in just 2 clicks. Open up the menu, select the one you want, and you're off to the races. So again, let's say right now we're looking at kind of a shorter term trading time frame chart template that I like to use. This is a very, very short term chart. Let's say I'm looking at XOM here and I say, you know what? I want to get down to the moving average ribbon chart. That's kind of an interesting one. Look at trend over a couple of different time frames. You can see how quick and easy it is to access that chart template. Any of those templates that I have saved to my account, they're now accessible right from the top of the screen. It makes it very, very easy to access these. Now, I talked about the leveling system that I like to use. So again, this has made it even easier to access those chart levels. I like to start with a stripped out view, kind of a narrow perspective on whatever stock I'm researching to really just stay focused on price, not bring in too many conflicting pieces of data, pieces of evidence there with tons and tons of indicators. I like to stay focused on price to start, and then I kind of level in additional indicators as I go. So to see how this is working for me, for instance, I'll start with that level 0. Then again, I'll jump up to that level 1 chart. Now I'm bringing in relative strength. I can think about how the stock is outperforming or underperforming the total stock market. I can also bring in volume to get a little bit more context to those price moves on that chart. Once I'm done there, I can jump up to level 2 and bring in that RSI indicator down at the bottom, see how momentum is looking on this specific name. Then again, I can jump up to level 3, and you'll see that I'm not disrupting that view because the chart isn't kind of moving, from left to right with those sidebars opening. This is allowing me to access my chart templates without disrupting my screen at all. Once I'm ready, I can jump up to that level 4 chart and bring in all of those different indicators that I like to follow. So nice and easy to access these chart templates. You'll find this new quick access menu right there at the top of the screen. Now, this is actually an interesting chart. One other little tip or trick that I'll show you today. If you do get an indicator or a chart template here in ACP that has a lot of indicators stacked on it, one of the things that happens by default is that chart gets a little squishy. Let's say squishy. You can see that with this many indicators, the chart really kind of gets scrunched onto that screen. We try to fit everything onto the screen so you can see it all in one view. And that means that everything kind of becomes a little bit too horizontal. So we have a great feature here in ACP. Fit to window mode is something you can toggle on or off. You'll see that with this little blue button right up at the top. When that's highlighted in blue, those two arrows pinching together, that means that everything on the chart is going to get fit into the visible window. We can turn that off though, disabling fit to window mode. And now this chart is going to look a little bit different. The chart is actually going to scroll off the screen. And so for a taller chart, a larger chart, something that has more indicators in it here in ACP, this is a great way to get more space and more context on that chart. It's not going to get as squishy. You're going to be able to really see each indicator more clearly. Now, one thing this does, this means that your horizontal or vertical scroll, changes. So when you turn this mode off, when you disable fit to window mode, scrolling vertically is going to scroll the chart up and down instead of moving it, sort of zooming it in and out. So your scroll does change just a little bit. You can still scroll back and forth, but if you want to kind of zoom the chart in and out, you can actually hold Shift to do that, and then scroll or Command to do that. But the scroll behavior will change just a little bit. If you do want to get it all back onto one screen, you just turn that mode right back on, and there you go. You're back to where you started. So little tip and trick as we go there. So that's our new chart templates menu at the very top of ACP. Again, gives you quick access to those chart templates. So once you've set up any chart that's interesting to you, anything that you might want to come back to in the future, any configuration of settings, indicators, colors, any of that good stuff, remember, save that as a chart template to your account. Even if it's something you don't know that you're going to want to come back to, chances are you might find a reason. So I always find that it's easier to save those chart templates and let yourself have those things to come back to without having to set everything up from scratch. Once you've created those chart templates, though, you can now access them right from the top of the platform. Of course, you always have that menu on the left if you do like to keep that sidebar open, or if you sort of prefer this full view, you can access this here as well. But you now have quick access to it right from above. Now, you might be wondering, what's that other thing that we have on the screen? That other quick access menu. So this is going to be kind of the back half of our show today. One of the big power features of ACP that I want to make sure you're aware of is layouts, the multi-chart layout feature. They are similar to chart templates in the sense that you can create a space and then save it so that you can come back in the future. But you can actually start to combine these two features of ACP to create some very, very powerful market dashboards. So let's get back to a simpler chart. That'll be kind of a better starting place for us today. And we'll talk about the multi-chart layouts feature. Again, if you kind of pair up those icons, look at that little layout icon there, and then look for the layouts icon over on the left. So we can open up that sidebar. Just like we had with chart templates, you've got your saved layouts right up at the top. You can collapse that or expand it. We're going to collapse it for now so we can see some of the other features of this sidebar. We'll come back to that menu in just a minute. We do have sample layouts as well. We'll come back to that one in just a minute, but those are kind of your two go-tos that you can click through. But I want to talk first about kind of what a layout is and what capabilities you have with this feature. It is an incredibly powerful part of ACP, one of the things that we've demonstrated many times on the show. But if you're not familiar with this, it is a very, very powerful part. So of course, by default, ACP is going to load with just one chart on the screen. That's what we have right now. We have a single chart layout. You have the ability, though, to put up to 12 charts on the screen at one time. This allows you to create pretty incredible market dashboards, single stock research dashboards where you have multiple stocks or multiple charts on the screen for the same symbol, maybe across different time frames, different things like that. You can do a ton with layouts. And our sample layouts will really help you get kind of up and running with this feature, just like we had with those sample chart templates. Again, though, you can create up to 12 charts on the screen at one time in different orientations. We've made this very, very easy to interact with here as well. First up, what you do is select the number of charts that you want to see on the screen. For each number of charts, we will give you an option for different orientations that you can select. So if you select a 4-chart layout, you'll see that there are tons and tons of different ways to arrange those 4 charts on the screen. If you want them to be equal, 4 quadrants, you can do that with that one at the bottom. If you want to be stacked on top of each other or all side by side, you've got those options as well. If you want kind of 1 primary but 3 alternatives, you've got a couple of different orientations for that. So for each number of charts, you've got different orientations that you can choose from. And again, all the way up to 12 charts on the screen. Once you get to something like 12, you basically just have 2 choices. Do you want those sort of organized horizontally or organized vertically, prioritized, if you will. So once you've selected a number of charts that you want to see on the screen, all you have to do is click the orientation that you want. So let's say we wanted 4 charts on the screen in this particular orientation. Once you've selected that, you'll see that that layout is going to load, and the one that you've selected is going to be highlighted in blue. It makes it very, very easy to see which layout you've selected. Now, below that, you have a couple of key options. These might seem a little scary, but when you kind of think through them, they are pretty intuitive. First up is going to be the symbol sync option. So what this is going to do, if you check this box right here, that symbol sync option, it's going to say that any chart on the screen that has the same symbol, wherever you see, for instance, XOM, those ticker symbols, any chart that has the same ticker symbol, if you change one, it'll change the other. So it's going to kind of sync up the symbol across different buckets. So for instance, if we type in up at the top, let's type in 2 different ticker symbols, XOM, XOM. So this is kind of a silly layout. We've got 2 charts of Apple, 2 charts of Exxon, but this will make it really easy to see. If we click on, for instance, our Apple chart in the top left corner, and then we go up here and we type in Microsoft, MSFT, you'll see that because we had those 2 Apple charts and we have symbol sync turned on, it'll keep those 2 sort of together, tied together with each other. But it'll ignore the Exxon charts down at the bottom. So the great way to make this fly, for instance, if we had Microsoft 4 times, we can type in comma separated lists up here at the top, by the way. That's the little cheat code that you're seeing me do up there. If we have 4 charts of Microsoft on the screen, maybe we'll put a daily chart and a weekly chart and a monthly chart and then an intraday chart on this screen. So we get kind of multiple time frames of Microsoft. We can simply switch over to another symbol and really quickly move all 4 of those charts around on the screen. It becomes very, very easy to sort of move all the charts on the screen with that symbol sync option. So that's what that one does. We'll demonstrate that in just a minute. You've got then a couple of different options under apply to all. And again, these are pretty intuitive. So if you change one thing on one chart, do you want it applied to everything on the screen, or do you want it only applied to the chart that's highlighted in green? The different things you can apply to all are period, range, chart template, and color scheme. So again, any of these that are changed, if you change one chart, it's going to change all of those. We can see that, for instance, with range. So let's scroll this one out. We'll scroll this one in. We'll kind of make these a little bit different. If we select apply to all for range and we come up to the range menu up top, you'll see that that checkbox is actually repeated in this menu as well. So you got a couple of different places to access it. But if we change this all to be 3-year charts, for instance, you'll see that all 4 of those change once we have that turned on. So you've got a couple of different options for applying different things to all of the charts on the screen. So that's how you create these layouts. That's some of the different ways that you can use them. Again, we've got a sample layout section of this sidebar that makes it very, very easy to get up and running with a couple of these. We've got some up here that are intended to be kind of different use cases. So for instance, a gallery view is actually going to do what we were saying earlier. You've got that 1 minute chart, then you've got a daily, then you've got a weekly and a monthly over there as well. And we could scroll this monthly out to be a longer term look. We could scroll that weekly out to be a little bit longer term as well. So this is going to give you those sort of 4 time frames and then make it easy to start moving between different symbols. Oh, if we turn symbol sync on here, let's get that back up. We'll put that one back to Fang. You can also turn on that symbol sync, by the way, with this little button over in the top corner. If we turn on symbol sync and then we do cop, you can see that you now get multi-time frame viewing for ConocoPhillips right there on that screen. So that sample chart layout is going to get you kind of up and running with some of these concepts really, really easily. We've also got some really interesting, like I said, kind of market dashboards in here. So for instance, Dave Keller has a very, very interesting sort of trend model that he likes to follow for a couple of different indexes, long-term, intermediate term, and short-term trends from top to bottom here. So you can get up and running with Dave's sort of market trend model very, very easily by looking through some of these samples. So intended to give you a little window into how you can use these. By the way, on these different multi-chart layouts, when you hover over a specific chart, you'll see those little icons show up down at the bottom. If you look for that little one that's got the arrows, you can actually expand any chart within a multi-chart layout and then shrink it back down. So again, you can create these dashboards, whether it's 4 different time frames or different charts all on a screen like you're seeing right now. Create those and then kind of drill into one and then drill back down into the full group. Nice and easy to move through some of these different things. So those samples will get you up and running with layouts, but once you start to customize them, you can then start to combine this with chart templates. That's a really, really easy way to start setting up some of these layouts. Once you've created any of these layouts, just like we did with our chart templates, you can also save them to your account. So similar interface down here, hit that big green button. This will give you the option to save these layouts. You actually get to choose whether or not you want to save the symbols to that layout or make it kind of symbol agnostic, if you will, and only save the different settings, kind of the charts on there, but no symbols. So you can set a name for those, or if you want to update any of your existing saved layouts, you can do that in here as well. Let's walk through this really quickly from the beginning. I want to show you how you can start to combine these chart templates with these layouts. So we'll get back to, for instance, our daily chart. This is kind of my starting place. And what we're going to do is create a layout that has the same symbol in 3 different time frames. We'll sort of build up that one that we were looking at before. So we're going to come down here. We're going to keep that symbol sync on. And let's get back to, we'll go with Fang just because it's a great name for a ticker symbol. So we'll keep that symbol sync on here. We're going to turn off apply to all for the range. And we're going to select 3. So we're going to build up a 3 chart layout that's going to have the same symbol. It's going to have Fang in 3 different time frames, similar to what we saw before. We'll do these vertically. So we're going to select our 3 charts. We're then going to select this layout. So that's going to give us our 3 charts on the screen all at one time. And then we're going to close this down. So we've created our layout. We've got the basic structure, right? Those 3 charts all next to each other. What we want to do now is put this symbol in a couple of different time frames all up on the screen. We'll go from short term to longer term. We'll do a very short term 1 minute chart, similar to what we looked at before. We'll keep our daily in the middle and we'll put a weekly on the right. So again, because of this new chart templates menu that we have up at the top of the screen, once you've created some of those chart templates that you like to follow, that you like to use and come back to in the future, it's really easy to create these multi-chart layouts with your chart templates. That's the beauty of this. So again, we're going to do our intraday chart on the left side of the screen. So we make sure that we click into that. The one that's highlighted in green is going to be kind of the active chart. Once we make sure that chart on the left is active, we're going to open up that chart templates menu and we're going to find our intraday chart. Now, I've labeled these with intraday, so you can see the name is nice and easy for us there. This is going to be a 1 minute intraday chart, so a very, very short term look. We give that a click. Now we've got our intraday chart over there on the left for Diamondback Energy. Now, we're going to keep our daily chart in the middle. That's going to be kind of our intermediate term view here on FANG. And then we're going to want to put our weekly chart on the right. So we're going to click into that. You can see I'm kind of clicking through these charts. Once I've clicked over to that chart on the right, we can open up that menu and we're going to select our level 1 weekly chart. So you can see this is going to be a longer term view now. And then we can actually scroll this out to get an even longer term view on FANG. Maybe we want to scroll this one in to get a little shorter term view. And then we've got our very, very short term view, how this has been trading from minute to minute over just the last couple of sessions. So now what we've got is a multi-time frame look at FANG. And because we're using those chart templates that we've already saved to our account, it's incredibly easy to create this kind of thing. Again, we can start to work with this. We can study each individual chart one at a time instead of looking at the entire layout. We can blow this one up. Now we're looking with a little more specificity at that intraday chart. We can scroll this out, get a little bit longer term view on the intraday basis. And then once we're ready, we just narrow that back down. Now we're back to our short-term chart. We can do the same thing, study our daily, kind of blow that one up, even jump to a specific time frame within here. So let's say we wanted this to be a year-to-date chart on FANG. We can do any work that we want with this, save anything or change anything, change any settings, any moving averages, add indicators, all that good stuff. And then once we're ready, we just narrow it back down, slam it back down, and we are over to our weekly now. We can jump into the longer term view, study that weekly chart, and do anything that we want with it. Now, again, we can also apply different templates within here. So if we wanted to change this to be a different template, even while it's blown up, we can do that as well. Lots and lots of options. But being able to combine this multi-chart layout capability with those chart templates, and now you can access them even easier right up at the top of the screen, makes this incredibly easy. I find this is one of the most powerful things in ACP, that kind of multi-time frame analysis made easy. You don't have to keep moving between charts. You can really have them all up on the screen at once. And then once you actually combine this with that symbol sync functionality, that's where this thing can really start to fly. So again, you can start to analyze different symbols really, really quickly over multiple time frames, all here in the platform. You can even start to do things like run custom scans. So for instance, here we could do new 52-week highs. I've got some scans from my account that run every day. So if we wanted to look at, for instance, new 3-month highs in, let's do the S&P 900, for instance. 3-month highs, S&P 900. We can run that scan. We get a couple of results back, and we can actually click into these to get that symbol quickly across that layout. So you can really start to make this fly. You can multi-time frame analysis, those layouts, bring it all together with those chart templates, even easier to access. And now with that button up at the top, that little menu at the top of the screen. Once again, I want to remind you, you can save all of this kind of stuff in the left side of the screen. So you can save your chart templates in the left, but also once you've created one of these multi-chart layouts, again, don't forget that you can actually save this to your account. So you've got that big green button down at the bottom. You can save that layout, give it a name, and come back to it anytime in the future. So bringing this all together, the other menu that you have at the top of the screen gives you quick access to your layouts. This has actually been there for a little while, but we do have quick access to your layouts right next to that chart templates menu as well. So it makes it really easy to move between layouts. Now, one little tip that I got to give you before we jump off, I like to save a layout in my account that just has one chart in it. So if you do have a multi-chart layout up on the screen, rather than having to kind of close out everything to get back down to just one chart, I find that the easiest thing to do is save a layout to your account that's just one chart with your default chart in it. So that makes it very, very easy to get back to a one chart layout. So just one little personal trick there. But if we open this up, you can actually see some of the different ways that I like to use these layouts. So at the top here, these are going to be all of the layouts that you've saved without symbols. So I can quickly jump to something like a daily and a weekly chart all on the same screen for really any symbol. This is kind of a one that I use for researching, for running scans, different things like that. Down at the bottom, below that little line break, these are all of the layouts that you've saved your account that do have symbols associated with them. So I use this again for creating kind of market dashboards. For instance, one that I look at every day, one that I like to just kind of leave up on the screen off on the side. is the major averages on a very, very short term, again, 1 minute intraday basis. So this gives me a quick look at how some of the major averages are trading. Total market, S&P 500, we've got mid caps and then small caps here as well. So you can create these layouts, save them with symbols, and then it makes it really easy to jump back to certain dashboards like this. If we wanted, for instance, here is the collection of, actually haven't updated this one in a little while, but collection of some of those, big Magnificent Seven type stocks. We've got a layout for that. We can jump over to something like, well, here's the Keller trend model. Again, you can save different layouts for different purposes, but layouts plus chart templates really starts to make ACP fly. Hopefully you've seen a little bit of that on the show today. So that's going to do it for us. I want to thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Stock Charts in Focus. Always fun to share new things that have just rolled out on the site, but also talk about how to incorporate them into your system, into your process. I always love to share how I personally use some of these things in my own approach to trading and investing and charting my way through the market. So hopefully you've seen some of that with my leveling system, some of the different ways that I use chart templates in ACP, and some of the different ways that I use chart layouts in ACP as well. Again, I find that combining those different chart sort of time frames, having a daily and a weekly, or having an intraday and a daily, or a weekly and a monthly, whatever it is that works for you, having multiple time frames up on the screen at once is one of the best ways to really make ACP fly. It's incredibly powerful being able to think about things not just through one lens, but through multiple perspectives, all kind of on the screen at the same time makes that easy. Multi-time frame analysis is a big part of why we built these multi-chart layouts in ACP. So hopefully you've seen how easy it is to set some of that stuff up there in the platform. Remember, we do this every Friday, Stock Charts in Focus, always something new, digging into the site, talking about tools and features, ways to get more value out of everything we have on the Stock Charts platform. So tune in every Friday. We'll have more content for you. Remember, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'd love to have you. We've always got something happening here, whether it's market analysis, digging into everything that's happening in the markets, or something like Stock Charts in Focus, digging into how to use the site, how to bring it into your process, really enhance your charting, and help you get the most out of Stock Charts. So always something up here. Don't forget to follow the channel, subscribe to the channel. We'll have more for you very, very soon. Again, my name is Grayson Rose, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com. It's been great to be with you as always. I'll see you again next week for another episode of Stock Charts in Focus. But until then, chart on, my friends.